What is going on, Lunatic Fringe? I hope you're having a good morning. My name is Bleaves. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world, Luna Classic in particular, and I'm going to take you through what's been going on in the background, in the foreground, so that you guys have a better understanding of what is happening. Make sure that you hit the like button and share this content, everybody. Now, let's kick it off. All right, two winners. We just sent $100 to each of the two winners. You'll see it in your accounts. By the way, make sure that you sign up for terracasino.io. I'm giving away money all the time here. So all you have to do is engage with it, create an account, and have a little patience. Start playing a little bit. This is risk-based gaming. There's a bunch of different games you can play. So all you have to do is be part of it. They're giving away tons of money, $11,000 per day through the 29th. Then you've got 125,000 in euros through June 29. From June 20 now until August 17, 1.126 million euros. And they just give away $1 million. So crazy amounts of money being made out here. All you have to do is participate. Sign up if you want to. Folks, I do all my trading at Teraport.finance. The easiest way, all I have to do is come here, connect my wallet, bam, hit swap, and I am trading. Now, of course, like any other swap, there is a small fee, but that's to be expected everywhere that you go. But this is your best opportunity, by the way, if you want to cash out. TerraSwap, Teraport.finance, and these are supporters of the channel, so go check them out today. Folks, the important thing is what we see in the communities, and I'm going to break this down for you as quickly as possible. Binance has completed its 5th token burn. Now, that was sending over 24,853 to small amount, right? But that kicked off Dark Trader here having some information, right? In the current month alone, Binance has already burned nearly 498 million tokens, contributing to the removal of about 73 billion Luna Classic from the market. This number represents 17.8%. In particular, over the last 7 days, crypto community has burned more than 383 million token. That takes us to right where we are, and it's actually up above that. I'm going to show you that number in just a minute. Now, Terra Luna Classic community is preparing to participate in the Interchain Summit of Cosmos. I do have some information about that so that you can see it. One of the key upcoming points is the reactivation of the market unit project. It's the market module proposal put forward by Vegas. This proposal could significantly impact the governance and functionality of the Terra Classic network. Another important issue is the rising value of the Oracle pool, which has seen a sharp decline from 115 billion tokens to 69 billion tokens in just 1 year. So when I come up with a way to replenish the Oracle pool, we're going to have to, again, we'll end up replenishing the community pool along with it. And it's going to be very, very necessary here because a lot of rewards going out, but there's not a lot of volume. That's really what I think this comes down to. Despite intensive burn operations, the price of LUNC saw a slight increase over the 24 hours by 0.5, settling in at 57.18. We're down below that right now. Donald Trump starting wars across the world, and here we are left to try to figure out what's going on. But crypto is holding up surprisingly well, despite that there was some really big there's some really big downward trend here. Ultimately, however, crypto holding up better than most other assets. This downward trend reinforces the negative picture that emerged in February when what is known as the death cross occurred. I'll show you that in just a moment. Key support levels around 55. We've already broken below that. Breaking this level could cause a price slide to 45 and 0.45, which, guys, you're just rounding it to the fives, okay? Those are your levels. We've probably already broken down the 405 at this point. Short-term exponential moving averages fallen below the 50, reinforcing bearish signals. Everything is feeling pretty bearish, but the bullish narrative is that futures options are now going up. So we're seeing an increase in 1.54% overall in that. So you have to ask yourself at this point, like, what is going on out here? Let me summarize it for you. There's some infighting, which has led to people getting a little bit nervous. There's some lack of clear direction. Why is there lack of clear direction? I don't know. Why don't you ask your validators? Why is there no clear direction? And really what we're looking at this point is a lack of fundamental leadership. And there are certain amongst us that just really do not want any sort of leadership. They would like to see this thing bleed out, which is what it's doing. Now, again, if you disagree with me, that is okay. Show me on the chart where I'm wrong. That's all I ever ask of you when I say things like this. And when I say them, it's not an attack on people because, there are people like Happy Caddy Crypto. I think he only wants what's best for the chain, He just doesn't know how to get there. He doesn't know what's good for the chain to begin with. What he thinks, or what he ultimately thinks, is that 100% clear sovereignty, and by the way, admirable purpose. I'm not disputing that it's not an admirable purpose, but 100% sovereignty is not going to get you to where you want to go. Do you know why? It's very, very simple. The reason that it's not going to get you where you want to go is because there's no leadership, which means fundamentally speaking, there's nobody steering the ship. Everybody is on the outside. Everybody is standing outside of their quarters. Everybody is watching as the iceberg approaches. Okay? That's what a lack of leadership does. So ultimately, what we're looking at is, again, show me on this chart where what they're doing so far is successful. And you can't. The reason for that is we've broken down to the bottom of the range. Now, you might be able to, some people might be convinced, well, yeah, but there's other projects that are doing that too. Yeah, but not like this. I mean, this is Solana right here. Solana, this is the bottom. You know, by all rights, if we were looking at Solana doing the same thing, then Solana would be at about $14 right now and not $130. Same thing for Ethereum. Ethereum is about halfway to its ultimate top, which was 4,800. It's at, you know, it was at 2,700 just a little while ago, and then of course dumped over the weekend down to 22 because of the war, or because of the potential for war and conflict. So you know, starting to put all these pieces together, you can see that despite that some of these other ones are going through it, they're not going through it like Luna Classic. Luna Classic has no traction at this moment, and very easy for people to just absolutely dump. But we should recognize there are a lot of people that are still holding these hodlers. You know, they're keeping the price action. But here's the thing. I just want you guys to consider something very, very simple, okay? I keep telling you that the validators are not helping you. Well, every month, in order for these guys to pay their bills, they have to sell. So, is Allnodes bringing in new investors? I don't think so. Is Interstellar? I don't think so. Is Happy Caddy? I don't think so. There are a lot of people. They're not bringing in new investors. Now, what does that lead to? Well, that leads to them having to sell on the chart. And then what does that mean? Well, no new buyers step in. What happens there? Well, they've done their part. They've been a validator for you. By the way, this is not an attack on the validators. The validators are a necessary thing that we have to deal with. But the validators are supposed to, or at least in theory, should be able to bring in new eyes and new investors. But they're not doing what they should be doing. They're not providing us with what we need at this point. Now, that is a difficult proposition in this market, so we have to stress that. So, you know, I like Rocket Defense, but we haven't seen it in about 6 months right now as the game is being worked on. But a game like Rocket Defense potentially could bring new people in. There's more games that are out here right now that could be bringing in potentially more eyes. There's protocols like Juris, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, that could be bringing in new eyes. To this point, we really haven't brought in new eyes. We're just building a foundation, and I don't know if that foundation is or is not going to, quote unquote, hold up. I really don't. So what I'm watching right now is I'm watching for something to happen here, and I haven't seen it. Okay, and when I drew this over here just a minute ago, that resistance line right there, in the event that we have a breakout, again, if we have a breakout, this is as far as we go. This is where, in the event that we have just a nice breakout, then boom, we're going to be hitting that resistance line right there, and we're probably not going to break above that at that point. Okay. Now, the other thing is, let me go back over here. What they told you in that article a little while ago was Death Cross. Death Cross was right here. That's where the purple line goes down, yellow line below it. That's the yellow line right here for our intent and purposes. The yellow line is the 50 and the purple line is the 200. Okay, so we're in a bearish scenario. However, let me show you what's happening right here. We've got this moving down at this level. We've got this moving along on this level, which means somewhere in July, we're going to have a golden cross. Golden cross, by the way, is a lagging indicator, but a lagging indicator is still an indicator. And guess what happened the last time? The last time we got that move right there, boom. Now what we're seeing I want to point this out to you. What we're seeing is, so what's happening right here is we got this little sideways action after this pump. We've got this consolidation period. It's extending, but we got a consolidation period, and that's where we get the golden cross, and then wham, it goes absolutely parabolic when it does that. So wham. Problem, again, this is probably where we go. So, we don't have a breakout. We don't have breakout escape velocity at that point. So, I'm looking for that to happen. I'm looking for that big move to take place. By the way, just for clarity's sake here, global liquidity is still going up. So we're still in the market. This is a bull market. We are in the bull market. We just haven't had the altcoin breakout yet. That's coming. That is coming. There's everything, all the indicators. There's no indicators right now that say that we are not going to have a bull run in an altcoin season. So there's going to be a move. Move comes up into this range right here. About 2x from where we are at this point. Now that's very small. That's not going to, that's not going to make everybody. It's not going to bring in new eyes, and we're not going to have a ton of new investors based off of that. That's just going to be a good move. It's going to be some accumulation of some whales. We'll see some positive things, and then we'll see if that attracts new eyes. Well, the way that you attract new eyes, you got to give them something to do. Volume, just not a lot of volume still. USTC, volume is way down, just not a lot of volume still. But here's something that could bring new eyes, and that is Jurus Protocol. Now, I'm not saying that Jurus Protocol is the best or worst or anything in this ecosystem. I'm saying that it is a necessary thing because Jurus Protocol represents the anchor protocol. The anchor protocol was the lending arm of Terra and Luna back in the old days, and it was the reason that people were pumping, because people were able to stake and borrow and earn yield off of their crypto, and they were able to continue. Basically, you can hold your Luna Classic, or you can hold your Terra and your Luna, and you could just basically put it into the lender, and you just earn. All you had to do was just let it sit, and that was it, and you earned off of that. And that's a great opportunity to bring people onto the chain. That is a function and a utility that we want to see. Now, their interest rate was somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%, which was a ridiculous number, an unsustainable number. This one's going to be a little less aggressive in that regard, but they are talking about this thing becoming bank, not a bank, but infused with digital wisdom. What they intend to do and what they're planning on doing here is, and by the way, I'm going to encourage you to go read this or read up on it and kind of learn what's happening over here. But this is going to be your lending protocol that's, in my mind, fundamentally changes what's going on. Now, it is my opinion that we need the market module in place. We don't need it for Jurus Protocol, but we do need it to take advantage of when Jurus Protocol goes live. That means a lot of people are going to start putting their money in, start trading, and start borrowing or lending. And to me, that feels like a great opportunity, and I would hate to see us miss that. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm watching Jurus Protocol right now as one of the elite things in this space. And by space, I do mean Luna Classic. Now, as far as burns go, 537 million. You might be asking yourself why. Well, over the last couple days, we had 76 million burn on, I think that was Saturday. And then Sunday, we had 139 million burn. So, we do that every day. We're doing a pretty decent job of burning some tokens, but we'd like to see a lot more than that. But listen, we're getting what we. As far as Commonwealth, we're skipped around. We save this for last, but there's bonds to burn, LUNC. Just some wild ideas coming out here. And then there's the rebuilding of the Terra Classic ecosystem. Look, the only thing that rebuilds is give us some games to play, give us some dApps to run, and give us some places to earn yield. I mean, that really is what it comes down to. Terra Luna didn't do a whole lot. It was a lending protocol. It was a better version of Bitcoin. So, that's all it has to be at this point. So let's see how they do with it. Meme coins, no real change here, but everything is bleeding just a little bit. So when I say no real change, I do mean that, there is some downward momentum. It just hasn't broken. As far as protocols go, going back to governance, the previous one, which was BLV Labs spending proposal, did pass with flying colors. If you want to know how everybody voted, you can always just go check it out, and you can see that everybody. And by the way, do you notice that somebody who should be happy was derelict in their responsibility? What do we do to people who are derelict in their responsibility that don't bother to vote? What do we do with those people? Like what Should they be a validator if they don't bother to vote? I mean, listen, I saw a guy named Happy Caddy Crypto one time tell us that any of these guys who don't bother to vote shouldn't be validated. So, and this is not an attack, by the way. It's just that if you're a validator and you're not bothering to vote, why should you be a validator? Isn't that your responsibility or your obligation? If we're going to give to you our assets for you to do something with and for you to gain influence and power, shouldn't you be mandated to represent the people? Just my opinion. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. It's not financial advice. He's right.